Hello, everybody. My name is Walter Burgman, and I'm with Dignatel. First of all, we'd like to thank you all for joining us for the next 30 minutes. The webinar will end promptly at 30 minutes, say the last 10 minutes or so for Q&A. Our goal today is to share some insights that will help your oncology department make better operating decisions during this intense cost-cutting time. Dignatel and Radiology Oncology Systems, ROS, are partnered with a number of like-minded and value-providing partners to help reduce operational spending. Specifically for today, we are here to speak about RO-APM, Radiation Oncology Alternative Payment Method, and are joined by Sally Eggleston from Radiation Business Solutions, a preferred partner of ours and one of the largest and most reputable billing companies in the US for the last many years. We are absolutely building an alliance, and we'll take a few minutes to introduce you to those cost-cutting partners and their cost-cutting value later in the presentation. Our webinars are a hosted series produced along with ROS, one of the world's leading providers of refurbished radiation oncology equipment. These webinars offer technical and clinical talking points as they relate to radiation oncology that you won't hear from some of the biggest voices in our industry, being the OEMs. If you've heard of RO-APM legislation going into effect in July 2021, hospital budgets have always been pressured, but now radiation oncology alternative payment method will potentially decrease oncology reimbursements to a lump sum versus per fraction for a significant amount of centers in the US. Second of all, please understand that we are variant advocates. We are elect advocates, but more, we are customer advocates. We service sites that are difficult for the OEMs to support efficiently or cost effectively. We are partnering with and servicing sites that are choosing to not pay OEM prices. We're going to ask that you hold your questions until the end, and if we don't have enough time to get to all of your questions, we'll email you responses following today's discussion. Again, please post any questions in the chat box below. You can submit those privately if you'd rather remain anonymous with those questions, or please send any additional inquiries to info@dignatel.com. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sally Eggleston from Radiation Business Solutions. Sally?
Thank you, Walter. As Walter referred to, we're going to talk about the advanced alternative payment model. We definitely don't have time to go over all of that because it's a very in-depth thing, but we will touch on some of the high points. I always like to emphasize and make sure people know that CMS really does have some objectives in putting the RO model out there, and most of them are patient-driven, wanting to ensure that we have good, high-quality, evidence-based care for our patients and that their experience is good. Definitely, patient-centered care, which those are some buzzwords that you hear a lot of. CMS definitely wants to reduce their burden, and one way to do that is for them to have really simple, predictable payments. And they really want to move towards site neutrality. And when we're speaking of site neutrality, we're talking about the service differential that occurs in payments between a patient getting radiation in a hospital outpatient department versus getting that same treatment or like treatment in a freestanding cancer center. So they really want that common ground. And while I think we can all agree that we do and give and provide very good care, some of our historical way of treating and fractionation schemes is the reason that we are seeing the ROA model come into effect. So I'm sure all of you have checked your zip code. That's obviously the very first step. Are you in or are you out? And if you're in the zip code, one of the first things we thought about was what are some tools that we can provide to our clients to help them through this process. And this is the very first one that we did. And it's just a little RO model quick sheet. And it provides the person at the front desk that maybe isn't aware of all the intricacies of the RO model and doesn't need to be, but this is a way to get them on board with it. Is it a Medicare patient? Is it not? Do they fall into the specific diagnosis codes? Do they not? If they do, then okay, what are all the criteria we need to meet? So just a little example of tools that you can create, you can talk to us about to help you along that way. CMS immediately provided us with this great calculation, kind of scary and intimidating at the beginning until you really dive into it. And some of the actual components of this, you had to get on the CMS website because they're very particular to your practice, such things as the case mix that adjust payments to account for treatment factors that may make it variable. The experience factor that is about a provider's changes the payments up or down based upon historical payments. So there again, it's that what we've done in the past is coming true to us today if we're in this model. So a great little calculation. And from there, it would give you what your episodic payment would be for each diagnosis. We then looked at that from a practice standpoint. This is a very large practice with multiple locations showing by cancer disease site what our impact would be approximately for patients and exactly what it would be on a yearly impact. And you will notice there's a lot of negatives on there. I certainly hope that everybody went through this exercise and Astro actually helped you go through it by sending you something that resembles this that would get you to these same dollar amounts because obviously they have CMS's ear and can prove to them what kind of impact this may have on your practice and radiation oncology as a whole. So we have known for a while that they were going to postpone it from January 1 to July 1. Next slide, please. And when they told us that, we knew that was what was going to happen, but they had to solidify that via rulemaking. So instead of putting out a rule all to itself, they said, okay, let's put this information in our hospital outpatient final rule. So that's where you will find this information. So this is a nice summary of the fact that there's 500 physician group participants, vast majority in hospital outpatient departments, but a large number of freestanding also, and how many beneficiaries are going to be affected, they think. 4.8 billion in total episodic spending over 4.5 years, and their goal is to save $220 million. So we will, see if that comes to fruition, because this is a model, right? This is an experiment, basically. So I found this part really interesting, and what CMS did here was they said, okay, they wanted to take a couple of pieces of the RO model, and they only took the collecting and reporting of quality measures and the clinical data and said, whether you're a physician practice or a hospital, that equates to what a small business would spend. And they came up with this $2,000 per year that it would cost a practice to collect and report on these two items. Well, it's going to cost you a lot more than that. And I say that because there's time spent training, educating, reviewing documentation, reviewing processes, making sure you have peer reviews. So there's a lot more cost to the practice than what CMS had outlined. So some of the information that come out in this final rule a couple of weeks ago was the solidification of the start date of July 1, shortening the model time period from 5 years to 4.5. And then here's just some key dates on items that changed because of the push of 6 more months later, such as the cancer survey that on the technical side has to be done. CDs. A good thing that came out of this was that the 2% quality withhold won't go into effect until performance year 2. Not so great thing that came out of it was that since they're pushing the quality reporting and the CERT requirement to performance year 2, then in performance year 1,
I think we may have lost Sally.
Pardon me?
Oh, there you are.
Oh, sorry, probably internet glitch. You gotta love Zoom. The not so great thing is that none of our participants will be eligible for the advanced APM in performance year 1, which means you are in an RO model with no incentive. And I don't think that has sit well with anyone. So you may ask, what can I do? Well, you are being faced with a 5% cut to the fee schedule, reduction in the conversion factor, and the RO model. So the first thing I would say is you need to be active. You need to get on the Astro website. If you're a therapist, get on the ASRT website. They have areas where you can complete your name and information. A nice printed out letter will go electronically right to your legislators complaining about some of this. Another to do is definitely to make sure that that CMS Innovation Center website is one of your favorites, because you are going to be on there a lot. And be sure that on January 13th, CMS is having their webinar that addresses the billing requirements. So be sure and don't miss that. So that's some of the things that you can do. If there's anything RBS can do to help you, we would be glad to. And I will shoot it back to Walter.
Excellent. Thank you, Sally. That was great. In addition to Sally's cost-cutting billing action items, here are a couple other methods that you can look at right now to help you achieve this goal. Is make sure you have the right billing partner. Radiation Business Solutions is certainly one. 2 is reduce your software service costs. 3 is your hardware service costs. Cut them if at all possible as well. 4 is a physics help desk support. And consider refurbished equipment. We'll take a few minutes now to hear from these alternative partner options. We are joined today by LE3, ROS, and Moonrise Medical Physics, all partners in our first call resolution team. First, I'd like to introduce Dan DuBeau, President of Dignatel. Dan?
Hi, Walter, thanks. And Sally, thank you very much for that excellent overview and analysis of RO-APM. That's very helpful. I'm Dan DuBeau with Dignatel Business Solutions. When we launched Dignatel 5 years ago, we saw there was a need for options and alternatives in radiation oncology, especially in the software space. There's always been a need to save on operational costs, but more importantly, hospitals and clinics needed to be able to take back control of their technology roadmap, to buy only the upgrades and enhancements they want when they want them and need them, and skip the stuff that didn't increase value or add capability. As we heard from Sally Eggleston, the upcoming changes with RO-APM make operational efficiency even more important than ever. And that's what Dignatel and our partners, ROS, LE3, and Moonrise Medical Physics can deliver. In addition to simplifying your operations through technology roadmap control and making you more efficient with cost savings, we also bring additional quality in the form of bulletproofing and proactive daily monitoring. That means minimizing downtime by correcting problems before they take your system down and verifying backups before they're needed. In addition to Dignatel's technical help desk, our newest partners, Moonrise Medical Physics, offer a new and unique option, clinical help desk support. Whether your needs are related to physics, dosimetry, or you've got a patient on the table and need a fast answer, Moonrise is an excellent choice to help you stay safe and efficient. They use a proprietary AI knowledge base to help resolve your issues as quickly and thoroughly as possible. Now, we're also joined by Matt Redner of LE3, another partner in our comprehensive call resolution team. And they're here to help you save on clinical hardware support as well. Matt?
Thank you, Dan, and thank you all for joining us today. I am Matt Redner, CFO and VP of LE3. As we learn more about RO-APM and alternative partner options, one thing we can all agree on is the importance to look at other options, cost-saving options. At LE3, we specialize in the maintenance and repair of your Varian linear accelerator with a focus on communication and overall customer satisfaction. By partnering with your facilities to maintain your equipment, we guarantee our service so you can guarantee your patient care. With over 40 years of LINAC experience and a vast inventory of parts, about 90%, which are sourced directly from OEMs. We can take care of your machines and avoid system downtime. Many companies throw around uptime percentages and response time as part of their sales pitch, but at LE3, we actually write that into our contracts. 15-minute response time to a phone call and 4-hour on-site response on all repairs is written into our agreements. Our technicians are capable of working on a wide range of medical equipment ranging from Linacs to CTs, C-arms, anesthesia machines, and sterilizers. LE3 is a veteran-owned small business that will make you realize that when you work with us, customer service takes on a totally new meaning. And now we're going to hear from Mike Guthleben with ROS.
Hey guys, thanks Matt. Thanks again. Walter, thanks again for having me today. I mean, I always really enjoy these webinars. It's a real good way for all of us to stay connected until life goes back to, whatever the new normal is. So hello everyone. My name is Mike Guthleben. I am with Radiology Oncology Systems, known as ROS. We are headquartered in San Diego. I handle the Midwestern United States. I am based in Columbus, Ohio. Now, in reference to the RO-APM model we're discussing today and Ross's role in the marketplace, we help our clients maximize their return on investment and profitability by lowering costs across the board, right? At ROS, we work with radiation therapy and diagnostic imaging centers. We help our clients maximize their capital equipment budget. Many of the centers we work with, they cannot afford brand new equipment from the OEM. It's too expensive. So that's where we come in. By offering refurbished equipment and lower cost solutions, we allow your center to free up money for other projects or priorities. And we can work with you on either a CapEx or an OpEx operating model to ensure we help you meet your revenue and your treatment planning goals in particular. So when you think about it, CMS or the private payers, they don't decide reimbursement based on whether or not a machine is brand new or refurbished. So ask yourself, why pay so much more when your return is going to be the same from a payer standpoint? Now, many times, folks have a misconception that a used or a refurbished machine won't operate as well as a brand new one. Complete nonsense. In fact, assuming you work with a qualified company, many of which are represented today, you can install a system with hardware and software protection programs, which guarantees you a worry-free solution and allows you to focus on more important matters like your billing revenue and your patient throughput. Now, CT simulators are one example of a very popular refurbished machine we've worked with quite a bit in addition to linear accelerators. They're generally a very lightly used piece of equipment that you're usually imaging only a couple of patients a day at your typical freestanding center. So you might be thinking of adding an entirely new modality to your facility as well, maybe an MRI scanner, maybe a PET CT system. If that's the case, we absolutely encourage you to look at all available options that are out there. But by utilizing the refurbished market, many times the money you save can help your center achieve other operational goals, like hiring additional staff or help you accumulate and stockpile cash for that big ticket dream system that you've been hoping to get to compete with the center, on the other side of town. So one of our clients once told us many years ago, and it rings true today, unless you just install a machine this morning, by default, every machine in use today is already used. So hopefully that clarifies somewhat our collective position as a collaborative cost savings group of partners. It's not just ROS, but it's all the companies involved here today. So as a reminder, this is just one in a series of ongoing webinars focused on sharing the cost savings and alternative solutions available within the radiation therapy community. And please know that by reaching any of us, meaning any of the companies involved in the webinar today, you're reaching out to all of us. So that concludes the content portion for today. Again, be sure to be on the lookout for an invite for the next webinar. It's an ongoing series. We've been doing them about every other month. But right now, let's take a look at some of the questions and answers that have come in. I believe we've got a few folks anonymous that have some questions they'd like to ask. So, okay, we've got one here. This is probably best for you, Sally. Does the RO model affect any other payers outside of Medicare?
Good question, and no, it doesn't. It is strictly for Medicare patients, not Medicare Advantage or commercials at this point in time. Okay,
makes sense. Another one that's kind of similar in a way is, our facility is in the RO model now. what suggestions do you have for us that we could possibly do in the future?
Yeah, I think if you're not in it, you don't ignore it. If I was running a department, I wouldn't be maybe as quick to make all the changes because you don't have to. But I would be looking at them. I would be looking at the documentation requirements because frankly, the things they're asking for should already be in our documentation anyway. I would be looking at my processes of identification of patients that may be billed or need to be grouped separately. So I would start taking action now because some of the items are definitely good practice measures anyway. And that way you're more prepared when it does happen to you.
Okay. Okay. Actually, we got a few more coming in here. Thanks for that. This looks like one for Dignatel. Does Dignatel Oncology Software Service provide upgrades?
Dan DuBeau here. Yes, I'll take that. The answer is yes and no. We are involved in the upgrade process from beginning to end, from ideation all the way through to ensuring that the upgrade is complete and delivers the value that you're looking for. We don't perform the actual upgrade. That is always done by the OEM. They have very specific processes in place to put the software together. That they're the software manufacturer. Whichever vendor you're dealing with, OEM, they will do the actual software installation. Where Dignatel is involved is from the beginning, we help prep the system, help you decide what direction helps you the best, what doesn't help you, and help with the implementation of the upgrade itself, and then all the way through follow through. So normally an upgrade can be a very painful, very difficult process, the switch over, the changeover, stabilization and all that. And that's where we come in and help out.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we got just a couple more coming in here. This one may be for you, Matt. I think it pertains to the LE3 business. What different levels of service coverage might someone expect from a company like LE3?
That's a great question. I think one of the things we offer is that customer flexibility. So we can actually do just a PMI only agreement or full coverage agreement. Whatever the customer wants is going to make them sleep easy at night. So if they want us to just do PMs with them, that's great. If they want us to do full coverage, that's great. We're capable of doing all those options.
Oh, okay. Okay, just a couple more looks that are coming in. I want to make sure we get to everything. We got a few minutes here. This one might be for Dignatel, Dan. What versions of Mosaic and ARIA does Dignatel support?
Yes, all of them. Not wherever you are, we can help your in-house IT operate very efficiently with helping to bulletproof things, to verify backups, ensure that anything that happens, you're recoverable very, very quickly. Doesn't matter what version, from the latest all the way down to end of life, versions that are no longer supported. And that's really what we wanted to bring to the market in the very beginning, is provide options for those who simply are out of options at the moment, that kind of thing. So it doesn't matter if you have ARIA 8, ARIA 10, ARIA 16, it doesn't matter. We'll be there to support it and complement your in-house IT staff. Okay.
Okay, so we just got one more here. Sally, this may be more of a billing question. It is the HOPPS. Did I hear that in the HOPPS final rule, there is a mandate that the physician supervision got changed to general?
Yeah, that is very interesting. Through the public health emergency, there was a reduction in the physician supervision, and they did address that in the hospital outpatient final rule for next year, and stating that in that hospital department, and it doesn't give you the exact departments, but it says that it is lowering it. So that's in the hospital outpatient only, not under the Medicare physician fee schedule. So that one will be very interesting to see what the specialty does and how they act with that one.
Okay. Okay, and then we just got one more here. This actually, I could probably take this one. Based on radiology oncology systems, how much would you say we can save on our capital equipment by going with a third party like ROS? My answer to that would be, It depends. We would talk to you. We would do a full evaluation on your needs and how we can help you. But on average, I would put the percentage of savings versus the OEM at between 25 and 50%. Again, depending on the equipment itself and the bells and whistles and level of service that we go with. So thanks for that. And I believe that's it for the questions, guys. Unless anyone else that's attending has anything else, please go ahead and send it in. And to Walter's point, if you think of something later, feel free to email to, I believe it's info@dignatel.com, and we'll get a reply out to you. In closing, Walter, did you want to say a few words and thank everyone for attending?
Thank you very much for attending. This is, again, this is our sort of, we've done a few of these and we're getting more and more traction with them. We appreciate your time. We're not sure what the next webinar topic is going to be, but it definitely will be something technical or clinical related. We hope to see you there. Thank you.